Hello and welcome to the new tutorial. In this tutorial we will create and animate this cinematic scene in free program Blender step by step. We will talk about modeling, texturing, unwrapping, lighting, post-processing and more. The entire process of creating this scene is recorded, so the tutorial is easy to follow even for Blender beginners. To create these shells, first thing we need here is texture of these shells, and I made this collage in Photoshop and I will share this texture with you, and I will also show you how I made this. I go to Pixabay, Unsplash and Google Images and search for shells texture, and I copy some of these textures and make collage in Photoshop, so we can use this in this tutorial, and I will share this collage with you. I will now open Blender and I will save this file on my computer. I enable this screencast keys so you can see what I type in here on left, and I will now go with numpad 7 to top orthographic view, and I will import this reference image with Shift A. This image is 2 by 2 meter by default, but our shell is about 5 cm, and I will go now with Shift A and I will add a plane, and I will type here 5 cm. If you don't see this tab, you can press N on your keyboard. Now I will select reference image and I will press S to scale this down to match this shell here. Now we know that this shell will be about real world scale. You can go to wireframe mode or X-ray mode to see this reference image. I will select image and I will go to image properties, and I will bring opacity of this reference image. Now I will go to edit mode and I will select edge select, and I will move this to match this shell. Now I will go with Ctrl R and I will scroll mouse to add 3 loop cuts here, and I will add subdivision surface modifier. We can now start modeling this shell. I will select this part here and I will go with S and I will scale this, and I will go now with G and move this to match this shell. We can increase this subdivision value to 2 to get more smooth mesh here. Now I will go with vertex select and I will select this vertex and I will press G to grab this, and I will try follow shape of this shell. I will add 2 loop cuts on y-axis with Ctrl R and scrolling mouse. Let's follow shape of shell a little better. Now I will try get this curved shape of this muscle. Now I will go with solid mode and I will select these two middle vertices with holding shift, and I will enable this proportional editing and try with this sphere brush. Now I will press G to grab and Z to stick only on Z axis. But we have problem, we move all shell up, and that's because our brush is too big. I will go again with G and Z, and I will scroll middle mouse button up until I see this brush. Now we scale brush and I will go with G and I will bring this up. Again G and bring more if you need. I will turn on proportional editing and I will bring this vertex down. And this one up. I will play a little more with this proportional editing. Now I will try get this edge here. And I will go with numpad/key to isolate only this object. Now our workspace is cleaner and we can focus only on this shell. If you don't have numpad keyboard, you can go to view, local view, toggle local view. If we try move this vertex down, this will not work because we need support edge here. So I will go with Ctrl R and I will add one loop cut here. Now we have more control with this edge. I will go down and little on y-axis. And I will do same thing here. Now we can go out from local view with numpad/key, and I see we lose some of shape now, and I will back this. We can go to edit mode and select these two edges, and with G we can adjust this. Now we can add thickness to this shell. So I will go again with numpad/key to isolate this object, and I will now select this solidify modifier and I will type here 1 mm. Let's now create another side of this shell. First we need move origin to about here, and in object mode I will go here to option and I will select this origin. Now we can move origin to about here. With numpad 1 we can check front orthographic also. And now turn off this origin. Now with R we can rotate from this point here. I will duplicate this object, but not with Shift D, I will use Alt D. So we make instance of this object. So Alt D, move this down, and now to rotate this we need to scale this on Z axis by -1. So type S, Z and -1. Now we need to rotate this on Y axis, so R and Y. and do same with this one. And we can see here that they are connected to one side. So we can go with R, X and rotate little on X axis. Now we can go to edit mode and we can connect them on this part. Because we use Alt D and we make instance, we edit both at the same time. Now to unwrap this we need apply modifiers. But we cannot apply this because we have two instances of the same object. So I will for now delete this one and apply modifiers. You can see that these shells are very thin on this part. And I will do this manually. To make this thinner, we can add loop cut here with Ctrl R and we can press S to scale this. And now we can go with right click and shade smooth, and I will turn on auto smooth. Now we can create material and I will call this shell. And we can go to shading tab. We can bring this image in Blender and we can connect this to the base color. And if we go to material preview, we can see how this look. We can go with numpad 7 to top orthographic view and we can go to edit mode and press A to select all and U and project from view. Now I will go to UV editing tab and I will place mouse on left and I will press A to select all and G to grab and S to scale and try place this on shell image. Now we can use proportional editing and shortcut is O. And now we can select part of mesh you want edit and we can now go with G to grab, scroll mouse to adjust brush and adjust mesh if you need. Now I want to project this bottom side on this part of image here. We can use this gizmo to turn on shell and we can go to edit mode and we can select one face in the middle and go with Ctrl numpad plus to expand selection. Or another method, you can select one face and we can go to select, similar and normals. And if we increase this value, we can select more similar normals until we select all we need. Now I will rotate this with gizmo to bottom orthographic and I will press U and project from view. Now we need place mouse on left, press A to select all and S, Y -1 to scale on Y axis by -1. S to scale and play with proportional editing if you want. Now we can create simple node setup in shading tab. Now I will go with Shift A and color ramp, and I will go with bump and plug color ramp to height and bump to normal. Now we get bump but too intense, and I will bring this value down. And if you have enabled Node Wrangler, we can click on with Ctrl Shift and click on this bump, and we can preview this bump. And now we can play with this color ramp. I will go with another color ramp, and this time for roughness. I want to make this shell look wheat. In Blender black color is 0, which means no rough or shiny, so I want more blacks here. This part here looked perfect. I want to create another layer of bump. I will go with noise texture and another bump. Plug this to height, and I will go with value of 500, and I will plug second bump to first bump. Now we have another layer of bump, and we can bring this value down to keep this subtle. Now I can duplicate this with Shift D and SZ-1 to scale this on Z axis by -1. RY to rotate this on Y axis. I want to make variation in bottom part in UV editor because both sides now look same. Now we can create meat inside shell. So I will go with Shift A and I will start with cube, and I will scale this cube. SX to scale this on X axis, SY for Y axis, and SZ for Z axis. Ctrl R for loop cut, and turn off this proportional editing, and move this edge down. Now A to select all, right click and subdivide. And in down left corner we have this fractal option. I will increase this to deform this shape. Now I will add subdivision surface modifier to smooth this. Now we can apply subdivision surface modifier, and we can add here same material. Now we can unwrap this with edit mode. A is to select all, U Q projection or smart UV project, and we can project this on this texture here. You can scale this with SY, SX or SZ. And you can also go with right click shade smooth, and you can go with proportional editing if you want. We can now start with second shell. I will place cursor here and I will go with Shift A plane and I will press S to scale this down. I will now grab this edge and I will press SX to scale this on X-axis. And add 3 loop cuts on Y and 3 on X-axis. Now we can go with subdivision surface and we can start shape this. I will now select these 3 edges and I will go with proportional editing and I will go with G and Z to bring this on Z axis, and you can play with this brush so you can scroll mouse up or down. Now I will select this line with holding Ctrl. Because this edge here is too rounded for me, I want to scale this, and if I press SZ0, I scale this on Z axis all to 0. But I don't want to go all to 0, so I will press SZ.2. Now I want to extrude this down, so I will press E for extrude and Z for Z axis. Now I want to scale this by 90%, so I will go with SZ.1. Now I will press S and I will scale this out edge, and I will now go to object mode, and because this is too big for our reference, I will scale all this down. I will now go to edit mode and I will select these 3 vertex and I will move this on Y axis. And I will move this one little in to get this shape here. Now we have basic shape and we can apply this subdivision surface modifier. Now I want to select every other row. So I will select first edge, and with holding Ctrl we can select last edge and Blender will connect all edges between. And now to skip to another row, I will now hold Shift and I will again go with Ctrl. So Shift and Ctrl, Shift and Ctrl. I will press S to scale this, and I will move this little down on Z axis. And now when we go with shade smooth, we don't see a lot of depth here, so I will back to edit mode and I will go with Ctrl B to bevel this. I will also bevel these 3 lines in the middle. Now we can apply same material here. Go to Material Preview, numpad 7 to Top Orthographic View, Edit Mode, select all with A and U Project from View. And in UV Editor scale this down. I think unwrap option work better for this than project from view, so I will go with U and unwrap. And this part go down, so rotate this on the axis. SX to scale this on X-axis. And we can fix this part with proportional editing. We can now add thickness to this shell. So first I will apply scale, so Ctrl A and scale. And now I will go to solidify modifier and I will type here 1 mm. Or even less. I will set origin here like before. Now we can duplicate this object with Shift D and move this on the axis little, and SZ-1 to scale this on the axis by -1. RX to rotate this little on X-axis. I will duplicate this meat from first shell, so Shift D, Y to move on Y-axis, X for X-axis, and scale and rotate. Because these three shells are very similar, I will copy this one and I will just make small adjustments. I will go with Shift D and I want to scale this on Z-axis, so I will type SZ.8. Scale this down. Now I will go to Edit Mode, A to select all, U unwrap, and I will now go to UV Editor and I will project this shell here. And if you want, you can use proportional editing. I will also make small adjustments in this 3D model with proportional editing. Now I will again rotate this on X-axis with RX, duplicate with Shift D, scale on Z-axis by -1, so SZ-1, and rotate again on X-axis. Duplicate this again with Shift D, and this one have this last part bigger. As to scale this down, go to X-ray mode and we can press C to get this brush, and now we can select this last part. And now G to grab and Y for Y-axis, and we have enabled this proportional editing. I will repeat this again with smaller brush. Now unwrap this and reproject in UV Editor. And again duplicate this and scale on the axis. In this shot I use mostly these muscles, so I decide make another variation of this muscle. I found this image online, but because this is not CC0, I'm not sure if I will share this link with you, but I will definitely try take photo of muscles and I will share maybe another image with you or this link, and we can start model another muscle here. We can now import this as reference, so Shift A, image reference, and we can scale this down. Now duplicate this first shell with Shift D and rotate and try place over this image. SX-1. Go to wireframe mode and edit mode, and with C select part of this, and now with proportional editing we can adjust this a little. It is really important to hide this white part, so with scrolling mouse we can make this brush bigger, and with G we can move this. Now I will go to material preview and material tab, and I will duplicate this first material and I will call this shell 2 material. Now I will go to edit mode, select all with A, U, project from view, and see you later in post processing. Scale this on X and Y axis, so as X, X, Y, and play with proportional editing. Okay, and we duplicate this material, but we forget to change this texture, so just select this new texture and this should work. Now we have two variations of muscles, and I will now delete this reference image because we don't need this anymore. Now we will create this cutting board. I will just copy this from my last file to see how big is this, to have a nice reference. And I will go with Shift A cylinder and press S to scale this. Numpad 1 to front orthographic view, and you can copy these values here, and on Z axis is 4 cm. Now I will go to edit mode, edge select, and I will select this middle part here. Now I will go with Ctrl B to bevel this edge here, and E to extrude, and Y for Y axis. Now I will with holding Ctrl select this top edge. When we are done with top edge, Shift to go down, and now continue with Ctrl and select this bottom part. So Ctrl, and don't forget to select these two edges here. And don't forget apply scale, so Ctrl A and apply scale. And now back to edit mode and Ctrl B to bevel this and scroll your mouse to add few loop cuts. I will add only 2 loop cuts here because we will use subdivision surface modifier. Right click and shade smooth. I will go to edit mode and I will add 1 loop cut here, but I think this is not visible in camera. This part is also not visible in camera and I will not model this. But you can always add 1 loop cut here and scale this on x-axis if you want. For material for this cutting board you can use any wood texture you like, but for this I will use this free shader from chocofur.com because we get all maps already set, and I will show you how you can download this. So you need to go to store chocofur.com and then to products, and then you can click to this free category and you can download this free shader bundle. But you need first make free profile. And then you get a lot of these free shaders you can use in any project. I will go in this wood category and I think I will use this one. So just double click on this Blender file and open this shader. Now we just need to select this object, right click, copy object and back to our Blender file and paste this here. Now go to Material tab and we can just drag and drop this to our cutting board. Now you can see that we have all shaders set up here, and if you want you can change some settings, but I think we don't need to do this now. We just need to go to edit mode, A to select all and unwrap this with U, Q projection. I will delete this one. Now we can set render settings and camera. I will go to render settings and I will set to cycles render engine and GPU, and I will go with wide cinematic resolution 1280 and 550. With numpad 7 I will find our camera and I will select camera and I will select x-axis to 90 and I will move camera to about here. I will go to camera properties tab and I will set this focal length to 60 mm. I will use depth and field with a distance of 1 meter, and you can turn on these limits in viewport so you can see where is 1 meter. And I will set this viewport size to 0.1 so we can make this camera smaller. Now I will go with RZ to rotate this camera on the axis, and first shells will be to about here, so I will bring these limits or focus to this area. And I will go with numpad 1 to front orthographic view and I will bring this camera down and also cutting board. And you can go with numpad 0 to switch to camera view and you can adjust this on the axis. And let's see our reference. I will rotate this little down on x-axis. But we can always adjust this camera later when we add shells. Now I will join this part of shells with mid, so we have only one object. So just hold shift, select all three parts and go with Ctrl J. Now this is one object, and repeat this for all shells. I forget to make a bottom part for these shells, so Shift D, Z, S, Z -1 and rotate this little on X-axis. I think we make these shells a little too small. They are about 3 or 5 centimeters, but I think in real life they are maybe 7 or 8, so I will select all shells and I will press S and I will scale this up. We can now start placing these shells on cutting board, and I will split these windows here, so when you see this cross you can move this on right. I will put mouse on left side and I will press numpad 0, so we have now on left side our camera view and we can work on right side. So we can on right go with numpad 1 or numpad 0 and we can start placing this on this board. And you can use RX, RY or RZ to rotate this and to match this board. We can use only this top part of this shell. If we go to edit mode and if we press L over this part, we select loose part and now we can go with P and separate by selection. Now we can go with Shift D and we can move this on X axis, and I will join this shell again. And I will select this object and I will set origin to geometry to back origin in center of this object. Now we can set lighting to make first render. I will set this render samples to about 100. And I will set this to 200 so we will get double resolution here, and I will press F12 to make first render. You can see that we have lighting already in our scene, and that's because by default we get this point lamp. I will now delete this point lamp, and if you go to World Properties tab, you can see that this color is not completely black, so we also get lights from this world or environment. I will make this little darker and little bluish. And we can now go to slot 2 so we can compare later, and we can make another test with F12 and you can see how this look now. I don't like this flat look, so I will go with Shift A and I will start with area lamp. I will bring this up and I want to set this light to opposite side of camera to get nice shadows. And you can use RX or RY to rotate this light. And I will go to another side and I want to just get a silhouette of these shells. So RY to rotate this on Y axis and place to about here. And I will go to Light Properties tab and I will bring this to maybe 70. And if you scale this light you will get softer shadows. If you want hard shadows you will scale this light down. And I will now go with F12 to make another render. And now you can play with size, position and angle of this light to get look you like. And you can make test renders to another slots so you can later compare before and after. To jump between slots you can use J key when you have opened this image editor.
I think I like this one. It's look more cinematic to me.
I decide to add one point lamp here to another side with a value of 10. And you can see before and after, so we get nice details here, and we highlight also this bevel here.